I had just lost my son and the police were using me to quell the riots. I expected to get justice, and all I got was a slap in the face from the justice system.
He was the hero of the riots. Credited with saving his city from a race war just hours after his own son had been killed. But it's now unlikely anyone will ever be brought to justice for the death.
Look at your lives. If some of you can change yourselves and your ways, it would benefit all of us here.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
This delivery driver from Birmingham was courted by the great and the good. He was the pride of Britain. But nearly 3 years on, Tariq Jahan has told Channel 4 News he feels abandoned after a leaked report into the way the police investigated his son's death. A report that blames just one junior ranking officer for a series of mistakes, which means it's unlikely anyone will ever be brought to justice.
I realised afterwards I'd just been used by the police, you know, to quell the riots. They got what they wanted out of me, but you know, I never got justice.
Mr. Jahan's son, Haroon, was killed during the summer riots of 2011. His two friends, brothers Shahzad Ali and Abdul Musawir, died with him. They had been defending local businesses from looters in the Winson Green area. Tensions were high, with armed gangs roaming the streets. In the early hours of the morning, a car was driven into them. This reconstruction shows the speed with which they were hit. Mr. Jahan heard the crash and ran to help the victims, and then realised one of them was his own son.
Shudder that went through me. As I turned the body completely over and saw my son's face,
A trial eventually began at Birmingham Crown Court when 8 men were charged with murder. But after 2 months of evidence, it was dramatically halted when it emerged that West Midlands Police had failed to disclose that they had offered witnesses immunity from prosecution.
The judge sent the jury out and questioned the West Midlands police officers. He accused the senior investigating officer of lying to him under oath. It was hugely controversial, and there were calls for the chief constable to resign.
The judge ordered the jury to disregard the police evidence. The defendants were cleared and set free. As they celebrated outside court, the IPCC launched an investigation. Channel 4 News has seen a copy of its findings. The officer accused of lying in court, DCI Anthony Tagg, is cleared of any wrongdoing. But his junior colleague is found to have a case to answer for gross misconduct. Khalid Kiani, an officer of 30 years' experience, is accused by the watchdog of acting recklessly by offering immunity without authority. But Mr. Kiani has always insisted he acted with the knowledge of his superior. Questions have now been raised about why he is the only officer being blamed.
maybe Khalid Kiani is an scapegoat being used because he's now retired, and no one else is being blamed for the incompetence of the police force. You know, where were all the senior officers? Why is there no notes made? You know, why are bits and pieces of information missing?
The watchdog states that in the immediate aftermath of the high-profile murders, West Midlands Police were under huge pressure for results. But some of the eyewitnesses were themselves under investigation because they'd been guarding local businesses with weapons. As Mr. Jahan tried to calm the crowds, away from the cameras, a tense community meeting was held at this mosque. Khalid Kiani offered the witnesses immunity if they gave evidence. But we've spoken to a number of people who were there, who all say Mr. Kiani was not the only police officer at that meeting. Who was at that meeting and what was said?
The police initiated this meeting in the mosque where the subject was to offer immunity to all people that were at the scene as witnesses. So there was about 10 officers, and they basically steered the meeting and mentioned that they will offer immunity to all the witnesses, and all they want is a witness statement about what they saw with these cars and what happened.
Did they say that openly in front of the meeting and in front of other officers?
Yeah, I mean, all the officers were there when they said that. Nobody objected, nobody spoke out against it, nobody offered anything different, nobody said anything different. So it was almost an endorsed action. If we have to call them to it.
Despite the testimony of those who were there, the IPCC has concluded that one officer, Khalid Kiani, acted alone, an officer who has now retired and therefore cannot face disciplinary procedures. Tariq Jahan has been left to face the prospect that he may never see justice for his son or the other 2 young men who were killed.
I had everyone stand with me. Because of what I said, you know, everyone. Councillors, MPs, government members, everybody praised me. Everyone. I had the support of everyone, I thought. And now, you know, nothing. You try and talk to the same people, they don't have time, they're not available for you, they don't want to know. It's not their loss. They don't care.